Hi everyone, this is Talia. I have got for you today a flip through of a little Japanese junk journal that I've made and decorated. It turned out really great, way greater than I anticipated it might at the beginning. I've never made a junk journal or bound a journal or really done anything like this before, so I was really happy with how it turned out. I used a bunch of like papers and brochures and whatnot that I had collected the last time I was in Japan, and I just happened to have this flyer from a sumo thing, and I thought this would be a great cover. If you follow me on my art Instagram, you would have seen that I had two choices to choose from, and this one won out in the end. Now I covered this with book contact, and I covered it like at the beginning before I bound it, and that's like the best thing I could have done because I am a pretty messy person, and to be able to just like clean it off with a baby wipe or my fingers or whatever when it gets paint on it is great, because I have had actually a lot of paint on this. Okay, so let's just flip through it. Oh, as a fun thing that you can do as we go through, you'll see here it says find the sumo, and there's these little stickers. I got these stickers just from Daiso, just when I was here, and so I'm not going to point them out as we go through, but you can count them, and if you can tell me at the end how many of these little sumos you found, and maybe I might do this for the first, let's say like the first 3 people who can tell me the right amount of sumos. I will send you a pack anywhere in the world of just like a bunch of different papers and brochures from Japan that I have left over. So let me know how many of these little sumos you find as we flip through. This one is number 1. Okay, so let's just flip through. I used some photos and things that I had taken when we were in Japan. After I started adding the photos though, I felt really unsure about like what was the purpose of this album, and like I didn't want this to be an album about our time in Japan or anything like that, but I was just browsing Pinterest and I found a list of like cool Japanese words that don't really have a perfect English translation, and so I got a really cool black brush pen from Daiso as well, and I used that to write some things on. For this is a really cute little block stamp that I got in Japan. So I tried to use a bunch of different things that I had collected in Japan. Lots of papers, lots of like wrappers and things, but then used things from my stash as well. I used a Project Life page in the journal. You can see that sort of dictated in some ways the size that my journal would be. The things I've put in here are not necessarily Japanese, they just sort of fit generally with my theme. Some things maybe you can't read them like super well, some are really fragile. I just really like that. I'm really taken with the this style of creating a journal. This I'm super happy with. You know, there's like that Japanese thing about like broken pottery or whatever, and then you glue it back together and put the gold where it broke. Well, this happened to my piece of paper as I was gluing it in. It broke, and I just used some gold paint over it. Used some just regular scrapbooking card, and I did a lot of this where I just stuck things on top, particularly if it was like a brochure and the back was like ads and I only want so many ads in it. I definitely don't mind having well, quite a few really, but because they're in Japanese, they're kind of cool, but I just didn't want too many. I think the black card like this was also a really nice touch. You can see that my binding is a bit loose, and that's part of the reason why I stuck this paper over the top, just to help keep it together a bit more. But I've learnt my lesson, and hopefully the next time I bind something it will be a bit better. Also, this was a really thick album, and because of the way that I'd done it, it was like all folded in the right spots first, and really I think for such a thick album, from the things that I've been trying to learn, it would have been better to have kept it all flat, bound it, and then folded it. My parents have been to Japan just recently as well, just after us kind of thing. We went, or maybe like 3 years ago. My parents went last year, and my mum bought this awesome washi tape which has all these Japanese things on it, so I've used that a fair bit because she'd given us a few washies. And then I used a lot of origami paper that I had bought when we were there. I'd been given a whole bunch of papers which were really beautiful. Tried to like keep the gold going through it a bit, and also use black splatters through like ink, you know, because I think of that Japanese calligraphy as a big Japanese thing for me. This was another washi tape. I don't know if you can see that very well, with blue lines. I think that for me that is quite Japanesey as well, because I don't know, maybe bamboo-y or something like that. I love that there are little pictures that I recognize in it, but that they don't have to be, you know, they could be fine for someone else's journal. Yeah, we're coming to the end. I'm like really happy with the little bits that fold out and these sorts of things as well. And I would have to say that having the contact on the back, even though I didn't do it perfectly. Look, there you go. What did you get? A beaver. Good girl. That was a really great thing, and I just can't get over how wonderful it is to have picked this up when we were in Japan. My husband said, oh, I will definitely let you like collect all these things when we travel, and I'll collect things for you now, when he saw this album. So that was really great. Definitely leave a comment. Let me know how many of these little sumos you found, or like, yeah, in there you may have seen, I don't know, there's like a little cup and stuff like this. Don't include the cup, only include people. Not sure where that has gone now, but anyway, let me know how many of these little sumo stickers you find, and the first couple of people to let me know will win a prize. Thanks guys.